In a noisy world, silence can feel unfamiliar, even uncomfortable. But hidden inside silence is power. A power to heal, power to understand, and power to reconnect with ourselves and the world around us. We live in an age where noise is constant, such as conversations, notifications, opinions, and endless streams of sound demanding our attention. In this whirlwind, silence is often mistaken for emptiness or loneliness. But the truth is, silence is not a void to fear. It is a space to embrace. It holds answers that words cannot offer, and truths that only stillness can reveal. In silence, we are given the rare gift of meeting our true selves, without distraction, without pretense. In those quiet moments, we can feel the pulse of life more vividly, the beating of our own heart, the rhythm of our breath, the subtle beauty of the world unfolding around us. Silence invites us inward, offering a sanctuary from the rush of life. It teaches us to listen, not just to the world, but to the whispers of our own soul. And in that listening, we rediscover clarity, creativity, peace, and strength. The power of silence is not in what it takes away, but in what it gives back. Silence creates space, a space for clarity, space to hear the thoughts that get buried beneath the constant noise of everyday life. In the stillness, when the world around us quiets down, something remarkable happens. Our inner world begins to speak. Most days, our minds are crowded with endless distractions, to-do lists, conversations, social media, and the constant rush of responsibilities. In all this noise, it becomes easy to lose sight of what we truly think, feel, and need. Silence offers a gentle clearing, a soft pause where the mind can breathe and the heart can be heard. When we allow silence into our lives, creativity awakens. Ideas that once seemed distant or out of reach start to emerge naturally. We notice connections between things we never saw before. Solutions to problems reveal themselves, not through force, but through gentle understanding. Like seeds resting beneath the soil, our best ideas often need silence to take root and grow. In silence, emotions unfold too. We become more attuned to the subtle shifts inside us, the quiet joys, the hidden sadness, the sparks of hope. Silence gives us the time and space to process what we often suppress, making room for healing, acceptance, and growth. Clarity is not found by doing more or thinking harder. It arrives quietly, like a soft breeze on a still day. It's in those moments of silence that we begin to truly see ourselves, our paths, and our possibilities more clearly than ever before. Silence deepens our connections. It reminds us that presence matters more than perfect words. In a world where conversations are often rushed, where people speak to reply rather than to understand, silence offers something rare, a deeper kind of listening, a truer form of presence. True connection isn't built on the cleverness of our words or the quickness of our replies. It's built on how deeply we are willing to be present with another person, fully, genuinely, without the need to fill every space with sound. When we allow silence to exist between us and someone else, we create a space where authenticity can breathe, where emotions can surface without pressure, where simply being there is enough. In real connection, silence feels full, not empty. It's in the quiet moments, a shared glance, a comforting touch, sitting side by side without speaking, that bonds are strengthened. Trust is built not just through what we say, but through what we are willing to hold in silence together. Sometimes, the most powerful conversations happen without a single word. A loved one grieving, a friend in need, a partner overwhelmed. In these moments, no words can fully capture what needs to be expressed. Silence steps in to speak the language of compassion, of empathy, of unconditional support. Silence teaches us that love is not always loud. Sometimes, love is simply sitting quietly with someone in their storm, offering nothing but our steady, unwavering presence. And in that silence, we often say more than words ever could. Silence is strength. It teaches us patience, resilience, and wisdom. qualities that are often overshadowed in a world that demands quick reactions and instant answers. In the face of challenge or conflict, the impulse is often to speak, to defend, to explain. But silence offers a different choice, the power to pause. In moments of tension, silence gives us the space to step back, to breathe, and to see the situation with greater clarity. It protects us from reacting out of anger, fear, or ego. Instead of rushing into words that we might later regret, silence allows us to listen not only to others but also to ourselves. It offers time to gather our thoughts, to weigh our emotions, and to respond with intention rather than instinct. This ability to pause is not weakness, it is profound strength. It takes courage to sit with discomfort, to resist the urge to fill the air with noise. It takes resilience to allow emotions to rise and settle without needing immediate release. In silence, we build the inner fortitude to endure, to persevere, and to lead with wisdom rather than impulse. Silence also invites reflection. When we sit quietly with our own thoughts, we begin to see ourselves more honestly, our hopes, our fears, our strengths, and our flaws. Through silence, we cultivate a deeper understanding of who we are and how we wish to show up in the world. And through that understanding, we grow not only stronger, but also kinder, more compassionate, and more at peace. True strength isn't loud. It's not in how much noise we make, but in how deeply we can sit with ourselves, how thoughtfully we can move through the world, and how gracefully we can hold space for others. Silence, at its core, is the sound of strength being built from within. But in a world addicted to noise, how do we reclaim silence? How do we find stillness when the world around us never seems to pause? The answer is simple, yet powerful. We start small. Silence does not demand grand gestures. It does not require us to retreat to mountaintops or escape from life. It begins with the smallest choices, the gentle weaving of stillness into the fabric of our daily routines. It could be a few quiet moments each morning before the demands of the day pull us outward. Sitting with a warm cup of tea, watching the light change, simply breathing without rushing. It could be a mindful walk, free from distractions, where we leave our headphones behind and listen instead to the sounds of the world, the rustle of leaves, the rhythm of our own footsteps, the distant call of a bird. These small acts of presence connect us back to something timeless, something grounding. At the end of the day, silence can become a soft landing, a few minutes of stillness before sleep, reflecting not on what went wrong, but on what went right, offering gratitude in the quiet without needing to say a word. Each small moment of silence nurtures our inner world in ways we may not notice at first. It slows our racing thoughts, it deepens our breathing, it soothes the restless corners of our mind. Over time, these tiny spaces of peace grow larger, becoming places we can return to whenever the noise outside feels too heavy. Reclaiming silence is not about escaping life. It's about learning to meet life more fully, with an open heart and a quiet mind. It's about remembering that beneath the rush, beneath the chatter, there is always a place of stillness within us, waiting to be heard. Silence is one of the purest forms of self-care we can offer ourselves. In a culture that often glorifies being busy, we sometimes forget that resting, pausing, and simply being are not luxuries. They are necessities. Silence is the space where self-restoration happens naturally, without force. It is where the mind slows down, the heart finds its steady rhythm, and the spirit has room to breathe. Taking time for silence is an act of deep kindness toward ourselves. It allows us to listen to our own needs before the outside world tells us who we should be or what we should want. In moments of quiet, we learn to recognize when we are tired, when we are stretched too thin, when we need to let go. Silence reminds us that it is okay to stop, to recharge, to retreat into ourselves in order to return stronger, clearer, and more whole. Embracing silence as part of self-care teaches us that healing is not always about doing more. Sometimes it's about doing less. Sometimes it's about simply allowing ourselves the permission to be still, to be human, and to be enough, exactly as we are. Silence is more than just a personal refuge. It is a doorway to something greater, a bridge between the human and the divine. Across cultures and centuries, silence has been revered as the purest language of the soul, the place where we can hear the whispers of the universe itself. In the absence of noise, we begin to sense the subtle patterns of life moving all around us. The silent intelligence that holds galaxies together, that blooms flowers without a sound, that breathes life into everything we see. The universe speaks in stillness, through the quiet unfolding of a sunrise, the hush of a snowfall, the gentle rustle of leaves. When we enter silence, we enter into alignment with this sacred rhythm. We realize that wisdom does not always arrive in words, and that some of the greatest truths are spoken only in the quiet language of being. In silence, we are reminded that we are not separate from the universe, but an intimate part of its endless, wordless conversation. It is in these silent spaces that many have glimpsed the divine, not through noise, not through explanation, but through simple presence. Silence is the language beyond language, the thread that connects us to something infinite, eternal, and profoundly beautiful. Silence isn't empty. It's not the absence of life. It's the presence of everything that truly matters. In the stillness, we discover the quiet rhythms that pulse beneath the noise, the beating of our own heart, the steady rise and fall of our breath, the subtle currents of thought and feeling that shape who we are. In silence, we meet ourselves without distractions, without masks. We listen not to the endless chatter of the world, but to the deeper voice within us, the voice that often goes unheard in the busyness of life. We listen to our dreams, our fears, our hopes, and our truths. And in that listening, something beautiful happens. We begin to grow. We begin to heal. Silence offers us a chance to shed the layers we wear, to survive the noise, the need to prove, to explain, to rush, and simply be. It reminds us that our worth is not tied to how much we say or do, but to how deeply we can connect with our own essence and with the world around us. Silence is not a void to be feared or filled. It is the fertile ground where ideas blossom, where strength is built, where peace takes root. It is the beginning of everything, of creativity, of compassion, of true understanding. When we embrace silence, we return to the source of life itself, presence, awareness, and connection. In a world that often tells us to speak louder, move faster, and do more, silence gently invites us to slow down, to listen, and to simply be. Silence is not the end. It is the beginning, a doorway to deeper living, deeper loving, and deeper being.